Hello, my name is Jeff Lush, and today we're going to talk about counting, and we're going to count information for a dashboard, and that dashboard will look like this. So we'll be able to count things to kind of look at our tasks so that we don't have to use Power BI, for example, if all we need is a dashboard to show somebody. So stay tuned. We're going to jump right to this. All right, so the instruction here today is part of a book series called Elephants Do Not Float in Clouds. And you can just search for my name, Jeffrey Lush, and the normal retail. You can purchase the book at Lulu, Barnes & Noble, or Amazon. Just search for Jeffrey Lush. Okay, so let's go ahead and get down to this. And this is a visual, we call a visual book. I go into the whole thing here, but basically we do step-by-step instructions for everything that we do. We assume that you are new or just need a refresher. Quite frankly, one of the reasons why I create these videos is for myself, because I don't do this programming all the time. I have a job that's not this, but we want to make sure that all of us, at least me, I can remember how to do these things when I need to. All right, so what are we doing here? So let's go ahead and start this one by one. We're doing this count for this dashboard that I showed you here, and this is all information within a list. Now, could we use Power BI for this dashboard? Absolutely. Could we do these numbers? 100%. Could we do this data somewhere else beside SharePoint? 100%. But we're talking about cost here. So I'm trying to give you the least expensive way to leverage the strength of Office 365, especially the strength found within lists in SharePoint and Power Apps that most users with most subscriptions to Office 365 have access to. So that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. Okay, so count if. Now, there are many count actions within PowerApps. We are using count if, and the reason why we're using count if is primarily because we're doing a calculation here. Okay, so we're going to use count if, and then B here is the name of our list, so priority tasks. Now we start doing this command here called date difference or date diff. Okay, so we're taking two variables, D, E, F, and G, and H and I and K. So D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. We're comparing these two, and we're basically doing, not comparing them, we're doing a start and stop point. Okay, so we're saying that everything that's been created from var end date. So what is this var end date? So let's take a look at this real quick here. This is a variable that we have set up within app right here. So we go to app on start. You can set a bunch of variables here. And I talk about this a lot because I use this feature a lot. So here, var end date. Here, why I called it var end date, I have no idea. You could call it whatever you want, but var end date's what we got. And basically what it is it's today. So if we look for our variable right here, var end date, here, okay, and we see the global variable right there, notice it says the date, and today's the 30th of December. So that's var end date. That's what we're using here in this code and what we're using within this application to establish what today looks like. And the reason why we need to know what today looks like is because we're saying we want to do it in the past 14 days. So let's look at the code again. Right there. There's 14 days. Okay. So what this is saying is created, by the way, this is D. This is a field, a column within B, priority tasks list, and created is that column that is automatic with all SharePoint lists, created, modified, both standard list fields that come with columns that come with every single list. And so we're going to key in on created. And the reason why is because we're trying to see, in this example, we're trying to see what how active these tasks are. How frequently do people create new tasks within this project? It's an indicator for us if how frequently tasks are being created and being modified as to how active the actual environment is, whether or not people are actually using the tasks and tasking out things. So that's why we're doing that. So created, with var end date, and then we want it in days, and we want it in 14 days is what we want. So we're going back 14 days from today, right? We're going back 14 days, and that is the number that we create right here. And so we use the and command here. The date difference of created is 0. So basically we're saying this H, I, J, and K is today. This is today. And then D, E, F, G, that is 14 days past. Okay, so 14 days in the past from our current day, created day, which is today, which is 0, right? This is today, remember, today, and if it was created. So if it was created today or within the past 14 days, it's going to automatically show up in this variable. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. So when we put these variables in, you can see this box here, and we're going to go over how to create these boxes in another video, but you can see the box, and you can see I've created a label, and we'll just go into it since we're here right now, and it's exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so we don't talk about the Gantt switch. We'll talk about that in another video, but here, just ignore that for right now. So here you can see created var end date, okay, which is right here, created, which is whenever the task was created, the var end date, which we're polling is 12/30, okay, and then we're doing it in units of days, okay, and then we're doing it in 14. Now I could change that number, by the way, if I wanted to, in 0. So it's pretty simple. So that's what the code actually looks like, and then it produces this number 2 for us. And again, we want to make sure that this date, and you can look at these others, like for example this one here, this is doing the exact same thing that we're talking about here. We're not using a switch, but notice here that the list is different. Again, that delegation warning that we talked about, but here the list is a little bit different, right? This is the archive list, and do you see right there modified? There's a field in here called created. I don't know, right there. There it is right there. So do you see where it's created? It gives you the date and time. So that's the field that we're pulling off of right here. So that's about as simple as it is to create a counter that creates a dashboard look based on the fields. And then you can just modify this to do anything that you want. So for example, here's the modified one. Let's take a look. Here's the date, the list, here's the counting, there it is right there. Modified, this is what we replaced. So instead of having created, we would put modified in, modified, and do the same count. So that's pretty easy. And then overdue is a different field. So this field right here is a field within the priority tasks table. Okay, so if we look there and we go to task due date, it's in here somewhere. There's task follow-up date, task start date, task due date. You can see the due date there. Okay, so that's those 1, 2, 3, and then active. This is just we're counting every row that's inside priority tasks. Okay, so we just want to know everything. So this should equal or come close to this number. Now notice here this is 3, 10, 12, but it says active is 13. Now why is that? Why is that is the next content for our next video, which is putting in a variable to thin out this count list.